April 18th, 2021. Football fans took to the streets, outside Elland Road, outside Stamford Bridge, outside Old Trafford. They blocked team buses, they held banners, they made enough noise that the whole world stopped, and within 48 hours, they won. The Super League was dead, the clubs had folded, the billionaires had retreated, football had been saved, by the people who actually loved it. That is what you were told. That is what everyone celebrated. Here is what actually happened. The Super League, if it had launched, would have done one thing above everything else. It would have guaranteed the biggest clubs permanent entry, no relegation, no qualification, a seat at the table, forever. UEFA called it a betrayal of football's values, a closed shop, a cartel. The president of UEFA stood in front of cameras and called the Super League clubs traitors. He said UEFA would protect the pyramid, protect promotion and relegation, protect the idea that any club at all, could reach the top. He said this with complete confidence, because he knew something the fans didn't. He knew what was coming next. 18 months after the Super League collapsed, UEFA announced the new Champions League format. Starting from 2024, the competition would expand from 32 clubs to 36. 4 extra spots. And here is where you need to pay attention, because this is where the story changes. 2 of those 4 spots would go to clubs based on historical coefficient, a ranking built on decades of European performance. In plain language, the clubs that had already been winning for decades would get guaranteed access. No qualification required, no league position needed. The same clubs, the same seats, the same table. UEFA had just built the Super League and called it a reform. The revenue distribution in the new format widened the gap further between the elite and everyone else. The market pool, the performance bonuses, the coefficient payments, all of it flowing upward. By 2023, Real Madrid alone earned more from Champions League distributions than the bottom 12 clubs in the competition combined. UEFA had protected the pyramid in the same way a landlord protects a building, by making sure the rent only ever goes up. Now, let's talk about Florentino Perez. In April 2021, Perez was the face of the Super League, the architect, the villain. Fans burned his image. Pundits called him a parasite. He became the symbol of everything wrong with modern football. But go back and watch his interviews from that week. Every single one. He said the same thing repeatedly, in every language anyone would listen. He said, UEFA will give us everything we asked for. They will call it something else. But they will give it to us. Nobody wanted to hear it, because he was the villain. And villains don't get to be right, but he was right. The man everyone called a villain was the only person in the room telling the truth. The Super League wasn't a coup, it was a negotiating position, and UEFA responded to it exactly the way Perez said they would. So here is the question nobody is asking. If the fans stopped the Super League in 2021, why does the Champions League in 2024 look exactly like what the Super League promised? More games for the biggest clubs, more guaranteed access, more money flowing to the top, less room for the clubs below. The only thing that changed was the name on the building, and then UEFA sat in a room and gave them everything anyway. Not because UEFA is corrupt, though that is a separate conversation, but because the biggest clubs in football generate the most money, and money, in the end, always finds a way. You went into the streets, you held the banners, you made them back down, and then UEFA sat in a room and gave them everything anyway. Perez knew that. He said it out loud, and we called him a villain for telling the truth. The Super League didn't die in April 2021, it just stopped asking for permission. If you want more stories like this, the ones happening right now, hiding in plain sight, there's another one waiting for you right here.